So, we've been going Minecraft mad in the month of March here on the channel. And we've even reviewed the Minecraft card game. Well, today, I have a special treat for you in the vein of Minecraft games. And we're going to be reviewing something that's a little bit more complex than the Minecraft card game. We're going to be reviewing Minecraft Builders and Biomes. Builders and Biomes is a game that simulates you playing Minecraft. The mechanics are all geared around you kind of being able to build, fight mobs, and carry around weapons and score points at the end of the game. You move your character around, reveal these different blocks right here that allows you to kind of see things. This is a mob, a witch, and this is something that you can build, and these are weapons up here. So you can kind of reveal different things, pick up items, and fight mobs. It's all the cool stuff that you're able to do in Minecraft. And it's a fairly accurate, if not a little bit simplistic, representation of Minecraft. Each one of your turns goes basically the same way. You can choose two of these actions. You have to choose two different ones. You cannot choose the same one twice unless you have a special circumstance, which I'll explain later. But the options that you have are collect 2 blocks, move 0 to 2 spaces and reveal cards, build a structure, fight a mob, or collect a weapon. So we're just going to kind of go through these one at a time and explain how each one of them works. So your first option for one of your 2 actions on your turn is to collect 2 blocks. The way that works is you go to this thing right here, and this comes with the game. It's a great way to kind of stack your blocks in there, and you can draw 2 blocks off of the stack here. So each one represents a different thing. You use these to build with. So these 2 happen to be emeralds, and emeralds kind of serve as wild cards, so you can use these in place of any material. You have other ones here like wood and stone, sand, and obsidian. So you want to kind of pull from this stack in the order that you want to build things. So in the beginning, you might be kind of grabbing ones that you think might be a little bit common, but as you go along, you're probably developing a strategy of the type of buildings and biomes that you're gravitating towards. The interesting thing about this is this also serves as a clock to trigger the scoring rounds. So as you draw blocks from this, you will come closer to the next section. So say you're in a situation like this, where you only have 2 blocks left on that top row. If somebody chooses the collect 2 blocks action and takes these 2 blocks, now you've removed a full layer, and that triggers your first scoring round, and we'll get to the scoring rounds later. But this also adds in a little bit of strategy, because as long as the block you're trying to take and at least 2 other blocks have the tops showing, you're able to pull from a different layer. So if you have these 2 on top and you're not in a situation where you want to trigger the scoring round yet, you might pull this one and this one. You want some sand. So you pull these 2. Now you're starting to get to the second row. So say someone then pulls this one and this one. Now this next row down has 4 showing. So it's the block you want to take plus 2 more. So you could actually take all the way down to here, and you still haven't even triggered the first scoring round yet. So towards the end of the game, you'll probably end up with some interesting looking towers over here as people try to get their strategies together in order to trigger the scoring round exactly when they want to do it, when they've set up their biome tracker exactly how they want to do it. And I think that's actually a really cool way of tracking the scoring rounds. So that is the... Ooh, they all fell. So that is the collect 2 blocks action. Your next choice for an action is the move 0 to 2 spaces and reveal cards. So you have your little person here. You move on the spaces in between the blocks. So you'd move to the intersection. So you'd move 1, 2, and then you can reveal cards. So in this case, let's reveal these 4 cards right here. So reveal that, reveal that, reveal that, and reveal that. So in this case, you've revealed 2 weapons, and you've revealed 2 buildings that you could potentially build, 2 structures. That's a fairly simplistic action that you can take, but you kind of have to reveal the items to know what you're going to be able to take. So moving around the board to the right spots is definitely something that's important to kind of gear your strategy towards where you might want to move, what buildings you might want to gravitate towards based on which ones are coming up, and kind of be able to be educated when you're moving around. You have to have revealed a building before you can build it, and you have to have revealed a mob before you can attack it, so you obviously know which block tile it is, and you have to have revealed a weapon before you can just pick it up. So that's the move and reveal action. Your next choice of action is build a structure. So say you want to build this one right here. We'll just work with this one because it's the easiest one to build. So you have to be standing next to it, and it has to be revealed, and you have to have the prerequisite material. So let's pretend we have this wood in our possession. So we want to use build structure. We take this and we pay our wood, and now we can place this anywhere we want on our biome tracker. So let's just put it right there. It doesn't matter what the biome that is beneath it that you're placing it on is. It can be any biome. It doesn't have to match or anything like that. But you will be wanting to track these when it comes to... Actually, it's upside down, so let's put there. You will be wanting to track these based on whatever strategy you're going for when it comes to the scoring round. And we'll get into the scoring round a little bit later. But that is the build structure action. Your next choice of action, and it's probably my favorite, is to fight a mob. Now, let's look at a situation here where you are standing right here and you are trying to fight a mob. So, in this scenario, you would have to try and draw enough hearts to beat the number of hearts that's down in the corner. So we're going to try and fight that witch. And we each start out with a deck that allows us to fight mobs. In this case, you probably wouldn't want to fight the witch because your starter deck doesn't have enough hearts in it. So in this one, we have a sword in stone and a sword in wood, and then you have some potatoes here, some rotten potatoes. They're basically just waste cards. So you would be shuffling them, and let's fight something that we have a chance at fighting against. Let's say this skeleton was here. So even this skeleton would be kind of hard to defeat. In your first thing, you'd have to draw both your weapons out of the 3 cards that you have here, these 3 tiles that you start with. So you would then draw 3 tiles. There's a sword. We're off to a good start. There's the other sword. Oh wow, we actually drew enough hearts to beat the skeleton. The other one's a potato. So you might not always do that. You might end up drawing 2 potatoes and say just this sword, and that wouldn't be enough to beat the mob. But now we have this mob, and a cool thing that different mobs have is they have different abilities. So this one allows you to take another action. The cool thing about this one is you turn it in, you get A, when you actually beat it, you get those points, and B, if you turn this tile in, you get to take that other action, and that action can actually be the same action as an action you've already taken on your turn. That's the only opportunity you have to do that, the same action in the same turn. And this one here this one's a nice one because you get 5 points on your little tracker over there when you get it, and this hangs out until the end of the game, and you will get this number of points for every house symbol that you have on your biome tracker by the end of the game. So that's really cool. You can kind of, if you're the only one who's going after mobs, if you have a couple of people competing for it, it makes it not as good of a strategy, potentially. But if you're the only one going after mobs, you don't even have to be building structures to be able to kind of get some good points off of these. I mean, you want to build some because you want to get those symbols up, but you don't have to go hardcore building and still do well in the game. So that is the fight mob action. The last action you're able to choose from is the collect weapon action, and that's a lot like building a structure, where you kind of are next to the tile and then you have to pay that cost. In this case, you just have to be next to the weapon and you can pick it up, and then that adds into your deck. So you'd add that weapon to your starter deck. Now I have this awesome bow, and say, we'll make it so it's the top when I draw. So say I draw that bow. That has a little symbol on it which allows me to draw an extra tile. So now I can draw, I would normally draw 3. Oof, that's not a very good one. So, but I have this which allows me to draw another one. So now I ended up with 4 hearts when in the initial draw I would have only had 2 hearts, which makes me a little bit more powerful. So the more weapons you collect, the less likely you are to draw those rotten potatoes that you start with, and you're more likely to draw the ones that have better effects. So like this one, for instance, the hoe, the golden hoe, gives you 2 points every time you draw it, which is really cool. So you can kind of, if you keep fighting and you got the hose on there, you can kind of keep getting your experience up, which moves your tracker around. And that's the last action that you have to choose from. Let's get into discussing your biome tracker here. This kind of cool mat that you have. They're all different. And like I said, you can build on whichever one you want to build on, but you might have a little bit of strategy going for it towards what scoring rounds are. So say you're building, you've built some ones here. Let's do that. And do that. And we'll do one more. We'll do this one here. So this is what your mat looks like. So in first scoring round, you have triggered it by removing the top layer of the block mining cube over here, and you've triggered A. Now, scoring A is all based on the little symbol in the corner here. So you can see it has forest, it has the mountains, it has the tundra, and it has the desert. And you get points based on which symbol you have the most interconnected sections of. It does not count diagonal, you can see right here. So it does not count diagonal, it does count all the adjacent ones. And so in this case, you get to pick. So this one worth more points. So you could have 4 times 3 here. So you could have 12 points. That's the 4. But here, even though the forest is worth less, each individual one, you end up with more points here because you have 3 and 3. You end up with 18 points off of your forest because you can see how they're all interconnected there. So you kind of have to map out your board based on what you think is going to get you the most amount of points. And that is scoring round A. Scoring round B is all about the structures on the tiles themselves. So you can see they have different symbols for the different materials that the structures are made out of. Wood, sand, stone, and obsidian. And they have different point values. And again, it's the adjacent spaces. So in this case right here, this is the same board that we were just looking at. You have a wood structure here, you have a wood structure there, no structure in between. You have an obsidian structure here, they're diagonal, so they don't actually count as adjacent, and no structure here or here. So what you would be looking for, knowing that scoring round B is rapidly approaching, so say we only have maybe 2 more blocks left, you might not want to trigger the next scoring round until you have positioned yourself in the best position to get points. So if a building comes up that has an obsidian building, you want that. That one's cool. I like the colors. But you want that building. That building's a good building because you can put it right there, build that structure as your first action, trigger the scoring round, and you just had a nice set of points there because that's the most value you can get, and you're getting 6 times 3, you're getting 18 points off of that little structure right there. And if you're getting 18 points off the first round, that's a nice little couple of rounds there. So that's scoring round B. Scoring round C, or the final scoring round, is all based around the little symbols on the houses here, that bottom little window there. So you get points again off adjacent spaces based on what type of structure it is. So in this case, it's decorative. This one is an actual house. In this case, it's like a bridge. And in the case of this one, we don't have one on the mat, but in this one, it's a home for animals. So like an animal structure. And this is another one where you want to be paying attention to the cubes as they start to run out, because in the scenario right here, you could get a couple points here off of the decorative one. So you'd get 6 points because there's 2 adjacent, but that's not as good as it could be. You might want to try and get something that's a little bit more points. So if something comes up that has say like this one has a house symbol, you might want to throw that here or here based on the other strategies you might be playing and get a little bit more points, because now rather than getting 6 points, you're getting 8 points. And if something else could come up that also has a house symbol, so say this one pops up, throw that there, now all of a sudden you went from originally only getting 6 points to now you are getting 16 points, which is a huge jump. So now you've done your last scoring round, and there's only a few other ways that you can tally up points. And let's just go over them. So you've gotten through all the scoring rounds. You have tallied up your points from the different characteristics. You have tallied up all the points from the buildings that you built. You've moved yourself around the track using your little marker here. Let's say we're doing a good game. We got 45 points right now. So you have also gotten all your points from your mobs here when you've slayed them. And now the only other way you can gain points is by looking at these. Each mob that has this symbol up in the corner, or symbol to this, that isn't one of the ones that you turn in like this, that gives you an extra action, can give you points at the end of the game. So, for instance, this skeleton will stay in your possession till the end of the game, and then it would give you 3 experience for every obsidian structure that you have. So we have 3 obsidian structures, so this one gives us 9 extra points. And there's mobs that do all of the different characteristics. So you might have you'll have ones for scoring round A, which is different biomes. You'll have ones like this one for the different structure materials, and then you'll have one for the different types of structures for scoring round C. And once you've done that, you've tallied up all of your points, you have your winner. And that's pretty much the game. It's not a particularly complicated game, and that's pretty much the foundation of the mechanics. So I'll meet you back up top, and we'll talk about my final thoughts. So, builders and biomes. Now that you've seen how it's played, I'm going to discuss a little bit of what I think about the game. I like it from a Minecraft simulator kind of perspective. It does kind of allow you to do the things that you would do in Minecraft outside of farming. Farming would be probably my biggest detraction from the game, is because farming is a big part of Minecraft. It's a thing that a lot of people like to do, and there's not really any kind of resource kind of gathering outside of mining the blocks. And like having different types of food and wheat and things like that are very Minecraft oriented would be something that I feel like would be easy to work into a game. Maybe they'll work that into a game, or maybe there's already a game out there that includes that kind of thing, like an Agricola for Minecraft. That would be an interesting idea. But outside of that, I like the fact that you can build and make your structures and make your whole little kind of your biome map kind of look the way that you want it to look. I like that you can go out and fight mobs. I like that there's different strategies that you can go by. You can kind of like lean into the whole mob fighting thing and get points that way, and then get points at the end based on what the mobs give you for the bonuses. Or you can go build crazy and like really get a lot of points based off of the different scoring rounds. There's just a lot of different things that you can do. I like the kind of almost like deck builder aspect of it, with adding the weapons into your stack and then drawing 3 of them, so it's like you're drawing a hand in a deck building game. I think that's really cool. And all of the, obviously the artwork and everything like that is very Minecraft oriented. So the one thing deceptive about the box here is there's a dog on here, and there's no dog in the Minecraft game, but you know, maybe there's one out there that's got a dog in it. I was gonna put that off to the side. So those are a lot of my pros. I kind of touched on a little bit of my cons. I'll talk a little bit about the components. I think the little cube that you can make out of the blocks is really cool. I like that. Like the blocks are substantial. They don't feel flimsy or anything like that. None of the components feel flimsy. They feel of a decent weight to them. The tiles that you use for the buildings and the mobs could be probably a little bit thicker, but they're not thin by any means. The one thing that I do not like, and I have said this many times in the past, probably most egregiously in Dead of Winter, is the little plastic standy things that you put the cardboard standers into it, your characters, because it always damages them. And this is probably the most egregious example I've seen of first time you play the game, you put that standee in there and it's going to make a nice gash on both sides of the cardboard, like meeple kind of thing. And I really don't like that. That really bothers me. But everything else component wise, I think is pretty cool. It's a game that is pretty easy to teach. You can teach it to most people, most ages, like maybe not young kids, but like a 9-year-old could pick up on it, an 8-year-old could pick up on it, and you could be able to play this game with pretty much any kind of company. Beyond that, if I'm going to pick a kind of a grade for it, like a number value on it, I think I'd probably have to go like 7.5 maybe. It's a decent score. It's a fun game. The times that I've played it, we've had fun with it, and I've liked being able to play the different ways that you can play. My son won the first time that we played, and he was really happy about that. So it's a game that gets a great score from him, which is kind of a rarity on a lot of the board games that we play. So that's Minecraft Builders and Biomes. If you want to pick up your own copy of this great game, look in the description down below. There's going to be a link down there. That's no extra cost to you, but it really helps out the channel. If you want to see more Minecraft content and more board game reviews, then hit that like button. Leave a comment down below. What's been your favorite game that we reviewed so far? Hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you're notified of everything going forward. And I'll catch you in the next review.